This episode of That's What G Said podcast is brought to you by CindyCarava.com. Full service realtor Cindy Carava. Visit CindyCarava.com for all of your real estate needs. And by SarahCandles.com. Use the promo code GINO for 10% off your purchase. Visit SarahCandles.com if you like small businesses and you like supporting them. Give them a look. Hey, you do like them because you're supporting That's What G Said podcast. And on this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the MLB cheating scandal with the sign stealing. It's now expanded, and a couple more teams are under investigation and likely to be punished. Then we'll break down the NFL Divisional Round games. We'll give you some plays for Santa Anita, Saturday, January the 11th. Just a couple plays there. And then we're going to go through some of your tweets and Facebook messages with your plays for the weekend. Sit back and enjoy this episode of That's What G Said.
So you want your daily dose of sports and pop culture? Well, I know a guy named G who gives it to you good. That's what G said. From Game of Thrones and Stranger Things to DDTs and chicken wings and banking on a long shot to close. Will the Lakers bounce back? Did USC upset them? Will the Dodgers hop on all who oppose? It's gotta be our year. It's gotta be our year. It's gotta be our fucking year. That's what G said.
Happy Friday to you, January the 10th here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of That's What G Said podcast. Probably won't be as long of a normal episode. We're going to get to a couple different things, though. Talk a little baseball, a little football, preview some of the games, let you know how we lean on the games this weekend, and then we'll have some horse racing, and we'll get to some of your post with your plays for the weekend as well. So I'm going to be reading through an article that was on The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellich, and we have talked about how the Astros are under investigation for sign stealing over the last couple of years, where it's been, using the video equipment, all sorts of executives. There were signs banging on trash cans, all sorts of weird stuff. And now this has expanded to the Red Sox. So I'll read through this article and kind of react to a lot of it. This is all now for the Red Sox about the video replay room. The rooms that were introduced when baseball started the replay in 2014. They became an easy place to learn a key piece of information, the sign sequence used by opposing pitchers and catchers. Before 2018, there were years of barely enforcing broad rules regarding replay rooms. Replay rooms cannot be used to help seal signs, but the clarified rules in combination with the fines and the league levied on the Red Sox and the Yankees and warnings it issued in 2017, they were intended to end any weird stuff happening in the replay room. But potentially in 2018, when the Red Sox won the World Series and won 108 games, 3 people who were with the Red Sox said that some players visited the replay room during games to learn the sign sequence that opponents were using. Red Sox sources said the system did not appear to be effective or viable during the 2018 postseason when the Red Sox went on to win the World Series. Opponents were leery enough of sign stealing. Teams were constantly changing the sign sequence. MLB then instituted in-person monitors, so they had people in the replay rooms starting in the playoffs for the entire regular season. But, as this article goes on, a lot of this just depends on who those monitors are, right? If it's like the teacher that's watching you, or the cop, if you do something wrong, and they let you get away with it or not. It just depends on, what kind of a person they are, what kind of a day they're having, right? Because that's what it said. It's some of these, monitors were not well trained. They didn't really care. They were kind of back and forth. And then others seemed like they had an agenda and they would, be looking for things. So I personally have not like sign stealing is always been a part of baseball, but it's weird now. I mean, we're in more of a technology age, so now everything advances, but it's just weird when you're using cameras, you're having people relaying stuff that aren't the someone on second base or someone on the base path picking up the signs. That's fine. It's weird when you're taking that next step and there's other people that are not a part of the team that are helping to get you that information during the game. Doesn't even matter after the game, right? It's about the during the game part. Let's get back to this article a little bit. It's cheating. One person who was with the 2018 Red Sox, if you're using a camera to zoom in on the crotch of a catcher to break down the sign system and then take this information and give it out to the runner, then he doesn't have to steal it. Red Sox declined to comment at the time of this publication. Instead, the following statement Tuesday afternoon was made. We were recently made aware of allegations suggesting inappropriate use of our video replay room. Commissioner made it clear in a September 2017 memorandum to clubs that the replay room to dugout. This is just talking more about like that 2017 ruling where baseball basically said we're going to crack down. Replay room to dugout to base runner to hitter is less direct. It's less egregious than banging on a garbage can, the method that the Astros used at home in 2017. The Astros system was triggered by a center field camera and a video screen positioned near the dugout. No one was playing on the playing field was involved in stealing the sign. So, I don't know where you stand on this, obviously, as a Dodger fan. It's frustrating to see the two teams that beat them in the World Series. Now, I'm not going to make any excuses or anything. And I don't think it's just now the Red Sox and the Astros. The Yankees have gotten in trouble, and these teams have all mentioned that they know that they're not the only ones doing this kind of thing. And I guess it would just leave a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth if I found out the Dodgers were doing something like this. It wouldn't surprise me. But I guess I'm a romantic when it comes to sports. So Alex Cora is a constant between the two. He was, a coach for the Astros, and apparently he played a key role in devising the sign stealing system the Astros used in 2017. This is a quote from that article when he was on the team, when he was the team's bench coach. The issue extends beyond individual teams, encompassing the league's enforcement and upkeep of its own rules. Many inside the sport believe there is cheating, and then there is cheating, and this kind of falls more under the latter, the cheating. I think we're going to see some big penalties apparently coming up because there have been a couple of warnings over the last few years. I think that's the difference. It's not like everyone says, "Oh, this has been going on for a long time." Yes, but when they're trying to change the rules and they're giving you warnings, and then you continue to go against what was asked of you and kind of slap them in the face, and we'll see what ends up happening. It doesn't look like there's going to be any players that are going to be fined or suspended. I think it just looks like maybe some coaches and perhaps some executives. We'll keep monitoring this story, and we'll let you know when the punishments come out, but I'm sure a lot of people don't really care and don't think it's a big deal, but if you know what's coming, if you just know as much as this is going to be a breaking ball of some sort, this is going to be off speed, this is going to be fastball, that's half the battle right there. Okay, let's get into the NFL Divisional Round. We had a really awesome wild card round last week. And the Divisional Round I just don't feel quite as confident about. What I do feel confident about is Sarah Candle Company. You heard CEO Tyler Herringer on the last episode of That's What G Said podcast. And sarahcandles.com is the website. You can use the promo code GINO for 10% off of your entire purchase. Their goal is to create a candle 100% natural, clean burning of the highest quality that everyone can enjoy. couple of reasons why Sarah candles are the absolute best. They are all natural, soy wax, free from toxins found in the paraffin wax, which is used by a lot of the other leading brands. The all-natural soy wax actually can hold your scent better and burn up to 50% longer than the traditional paraffin wax candle. 100% lead-free, cotton wicks, completely natural scents. They are made in micro batches. They're hand-poured to ensure the highest quality, 100% locally sourced and handcrafted in the USA. There are more than 25 different scents available now, 3 different sizes, fragrance oils that are infused with natural essential oils, the best ingredients, quality packaging, affordable prices, longer burning, none of those toxins or those carcinogens or pollutants that are present in paraffin wax. And like anything, especially when it's a flame you're going to be burning, you want to make sure to keep an eye, and you want to take good care of it. So they have instructions and details on how to keep your candle clean and ensure the perfect burn. Created by people who love candles. They started out experimenting, trying to create the perfect candle, and they've now blossomed into Sarah Candle Company. Through their research, they were able to discover the benefits of the all-natural soy wax. This is a perfect gift for someone. Maybe that someone is yourself. If you enjoy candles, go take a look. Buy a couple. Type in that promo code GINO. It'll save you a few bucks. 10% off your purchase. Sarah Candle Company. Visit sarahcandles.com. 4 games this weekend, and to be fair, last weekend ended up going 1-3. The Bills game was a run that was the one that was the most frustrating. That was the one that really hurt us. Dead wrong in the Vikings-Saints game, and then if you back the Eagles, as soon as Wentz went down, we were in some trouble, and it just the no skill players and no quarterback, or the lack of skill players and the lack of a starting QB there, I think just really is what killed the Eagles. I thought with Wentz they still would have had a shot in that game. It was a close game, as Seattle loves to play close games. Now, I honestly, this weekend, we'll go through each of the games, but I really don't have a strong opinion as far as the lines on the sides of the teams are concerned. This is a weird weekend to me. I think, for the most part, we're going to see the chalk win. So what does that mean? It'll probably be all 4 underdogs again this weekend. But I think the lines are pretty close. There's nothing to me that jumps out. But we'll play a couple over-unders. Let's get to the games. In the first game we will have on Saturday, it's going to be the 6-seeded Minnesota Vikings heading to play the number 1 seeded San Francisco 49ers, who had an awesome year this year. They were 13-3 straight up, 9-6-1 against the spread, and they come off a bye. And what's huge for the 49ers this weekend, it's kind of like the story of the game, is they're getting healthy. They really were one of the teams that could really use the bye, as you saw, a couple of banged up teams like Philly and Seattle. The bye would have been nice for them, because I'm sure they're coming off of a week and now having to travel again, go on the road again. Seattle would have, I'm sure, loved to be at home and loved to not have play. So this is going to be a big benefit for San Francisco, as we also saw their opponent, Minnesota, have to go and play New Orleans, and now Minnesota is going to have to come to San Francisco, and it's the back-to-back road games, which makes it tough. Like, I actually like the way Minnesota matches up in here. It feels like I feel like at 7, it would be too many points. Like, if I had to lean to one side, I would probably take the points with Minnesota here in this game, but I think San Francisco probably wins. Last week, Cook had a season-high 28 carries for 94 yards, a couple touchdowns, and Thielen saw more than 8 targets for the first time this season and hauled in 7 receptions. So we got to keep an eye on his health, because this week he was still not sure. We're still not sure what it's going to be like for Thielen. There's going to be some key injuries that you have to keep an eye on for Thielen, and for in the game we're going to be talking about later, for Fuller. So a couple huge big wide receiver injuries that could really impact games, because Thielen was someone who, really struggled early in that game for Minnesota, and then obviously he made the big play, and Cousins made the big play late in that game in overtime to set up the win for them. Cousins and the Vikings converted on 10 of 18 third downs. They were able to score touchdowns in 3 of their 4 trips to the red zone. And Minnesota defensively was really good. They shut down a team, New Orleans, that was rolling. They had scored 34 points in, I think, 6 of their last 7 games. And they were 4 of 11 on third down. Drew Brees did not look good. Minnesota will likely try to bring the pressure that they did against Brees and try to make Garoppolo make throws under pressure. The key matchups we'll see with the tight end, with Kittle against the Minnesota defense. Now, when we go over to the other side with San Francisco, we talk about how good their defense was early in the season, and then they struggled a little bit late in the season. But I think, you have to take those numbers with into context a little bit, because they did get more banged up, and they did honestly just play better teams. So you're going to give up more points. I do think that San Francisco is a battle-tested team, though. D Ford, Quan Alexander could be a couple huge pieces returning for them. And then for Kittle versus the Vikings secondary, kind of middle of the line. They are going to have to focus on Kittle, though, who is basically, the number one option for Jimmy G, and the option, on third down or when they need to make a big play. I think Kittle's accounted for about a quarter of their passing yards this season. Both of these teams want to run the ball. They both run the ball pretty well. And San Francisco has just been coached so well this year, all throughout the year. I thought Minnesota had a great game plan last week against New Orleans until they got a little complacent late, and they got a little bit, conservative. You can't be conservative like that in the playoffs anymore in this day and age in football. You have to be aggressive. It just seems like the football gods reward you when you're a little bit aggressive and you go for it. Sometimes you don't make it, but they still end up rewarding you. So we'll see if the game plan is similar for Minnesota this weekend. I don't lean aside in this game, but I think San Francisco wins the game. A couple other notes. Let's see. 2 of the NFL's most productive rushing offenses based on yards, both in the top 6. Number 6 seeds have lost 8 consecutive games in the divisional round. They are 5-19 since 1990 in this round, and we'll see 2 number 6 seeds in the divisional round. Vikings have struggled against strong defensive fronts, and we definitely know that San Francisco has that. Yeah, I try not to force, an opinion on games that I really don't have, and I think this game is just going to be a 49ers close win. The upset wouldn't shock me, but that's why I don't play there. And game 2 on Saturday, it's going to be the Titans versus the Ravens. And so we're going to see 2 teams that, again, really, really want to run the ball. We're the number 1 rushing offense and the number 3 rushing offense as far as rushing yards are concerned with Baltimore and with Tennessee. Last week we saw Derrick Henry with 204 total yards, and Tennessee going on the road and beating New England. Titans are 6-2 straight up and against the spread in their last 8 games, and they're now 6-3 against the spread on the road this season. Baltimore with the bye should be fresh, well-rested. Looks like Mark Ingram is going to be playing and should be fine. He was a little banged up, injuring his calf. Tannehill, he really struggled overall in the New England game after an excellent end of the season. As soon as he took over, he just completely changed his team. When he had 72 yards passing, was 8 of 15 with an interception and 2 fumbles. And their leading receiver was backup tight end. A.J. Brown got shut down. He had only 1 4-yard catch. And the Ravens secondary is very good. New England's obviously is excellent. Ravens secondary is really good against the pass, though, and in particular late in the season, their defense really started flying and moving around. So likely two teams that want to run the ball. Tennessee's defense is actually pretty solid against the run, and we know what Baltimore wants to do through the air. They want to get the ball to Mark Andrews. They want to mix it up with Lamar running, passing. This game is at 10 now in a lot of spots, and it's just another one of those games that I mentioned in all four of these games, I just don't get that much of a feel. I can really see, a double digit. I could obviously see Tennessee covering this game. I could just see Baltimore blowing them out too. So I'm not going to take a side in this one either. But the games that I will play will be on Sunday. I'll have a small play in both of them, and they'll both be on the totals. And I'm going to play the under in both of these. Let's talk Chiefs first. Houston, I like Houston better in this spot than I did last week. I played against Houston last week, and I feel like we had the right spot with the Bills. You're up 16-0. You really just needed one more score somewhere in there. And Allen, we saw how bad he struggled late in the game. Remember, Houston did go to Kansas City and beat Kansas City earlier this year. I just feel like this is a completely different Kansas City team now, and their defense is playing so much better. Let's get to some of the stats here. Kansas City won 6 straight, and they got lucky with the Dolphins beating the Patriots. They were able to secure that bye. They are 11-5 this year against the spread, 6 straight covers, 4-1 against the spread at home in their past 5 games. This moved up after a few points. I think it was like 7 early, and then it went all the way up to 10. Watson versus Mahomes. This is, I think, the only way you give Houston a shot in here, because Watson has the ability to make some plays. Will Fuller, how healthy is he going to be? He seems to be on track to play this week. If he gives him an extra weapon, another chance to stretch the field a little bit, it's only a positive. But if he comes back and he's only able to be in the game for a little while and he has to come back out of the game, that's happened with Fuller a few times when he's returned from injury. We hear about Andy Reid off the bye. Andy Reid off the bye. The Pick Six podcast song with Will Brinson and the guys over there. They do a great job. Andy Reid's team's 22-4 straight up, 17-9 against the spread all time after a regular season or postseason bye, and with the Chiefs 6-3 straight up, 5-4 against the spread. But the under has hit in 20 of the 26 games and in 7 of the 9 games since he joined the Chiefs. That's what I'm going to play in here. I think you can get 51.5 in some places and 51 even right now. And I'm going to go under. A lot of this is going to be a weather play, but it's, the improved Chiefs defense is a big factor too. They were able to just really improve the last couple months. Reading through some facts here from OddsShark, they allowed 87 rush yards per game and ranked 6th the last 3 games of the season. The pass defense ranked 8th against the pass this season, allowing just 224 yards per game. Opposing defenses converted 50% of their red zone trips into touchdown against the Chiefs. That was the 9th lowest in the league. And in the past 3 games, that rate was down to 42%, 42.8%. And then offensive converted 37% of their third downs against the Chiefs. That was 12th in the league. So some pretty good defensive metrics here. Defense got better. And this game is supposed to be really cold. When you look at the weather forecast for Kansas City on Saturday, it is supposed to snow. And there's going to be a low of 11 degrees. And then on Sunday, it's going to have a high of 36 degrees, so it's not exactly going to be warming up the day after it snows. And I think the weather plays a factor in here. I think Kansas City's is better, and I think this is like a 30 to 17 game. And this has creeped all the way up to 51.5 in some places. Chiefs gave up 5 yards per rush to quarterbacks this season, which ranked 25th in the NFL. This is on ESPN. But Houston defensively is just not good, and I think Mahomes will be able to pick them apart much, much better than Allen did last week. And Kansas City's run the ball a lot better as of late, too. So I think Kansas City wins, but I will be playing the under in this one. Talk about boring, right? You want to be rooting for the points, but let's go under. And then the final game, it's Seattle versus Green Bay. Green Bay gets talked about for a team that's 13-3, like they're awful. And by the metrics, they actually were like one of the worst 13-3 teams of all time, just because they don't really win sexy. It's amazing when you think of an Aaron Rodgers-led team, you think of a team that's probably going to be going up and down the field scoring. That is not this Green Bay team, but they get up, they get leads, they can run the ball. Rodgers can make a play or two. They were able to put some pressure on you with their defensive front. And that's what they're going to have to try to do here again against a Seattle team that's a little banged up, but a Seattle team that is very susceptible to sacks. I believe they got sacked the most in the league this year. Last week, first of all, the total has gone under in the Packers' last 4 games with an average combined score of just 36, a little over 36. Last week, Seahawks were penalized a ton, 11 penalties, 114 yards. And the Packers only averaging 21 points per game the last 4 weeks of the season. They're not blowing anybody out. Seattle is going to have to try to protect Russell Wilson by running the ball. And they don't really have the backs, the quality backs right now, but they're not going to be going up against a defense that is very good against stopping the run. So they're going to have to mix it up a little bit. We saw like the breakout game from DK Metcalf last week where he had 7 catches for 160 yards and a touchdown as a rookie record, most receiving yards in a playoff game. The Green Bay pass defense, they're like middle of the line, and they're just bad against the run. Will Wilson run a little bit? It seems like he's more in like these do-or-die games, do-or-die situations, late in game. That's when you see him run a little bit more. And in a game like this, he might have to run because this is another game where the weather is going to be really, really poor. I am going to play the under in this game because the weather, it's going to be 20 degrees, 22, 21 degrees on Sunday. And I just don't think these teams are going to go up and down the field. So I would not be shocked at all if Seattle won this game. But I think it's going to be Aaron Jones. Looks like Bulaga is going to be back on track. Packers ran the ball more late, and they're just going to continue to try to do that with this weather. That's how they've won this year. And you know what? They're a game away from being in the NFC Championship. And if Minnesota were to upset San Francisco, they'd be hosting it. So I don't expect Green Bay to like really flip the script and be airing it out here. We never really see Seattle do that. That's just not who they are, even when they don't have the personnel. So this year, we were 50-46 with our plays. Wasn't all against the spread. I think we had 4 or 5 like plus money lines on there. But last week, the 1-3, that's what hurt us. No opinions on the sides, just 2 opinions on the totals. We're going to go Kansas City, Houston under 51.5. You can find that. And then Green Bay, Seattle under 47. 23 degrees. Can these teams really air it out? Can Seattle run the ball? If they can't, it could get ugly for them offensively because then they could become predictable, and that makes any team much easier to defend. So even with Green Bay poor run defense, if Seattle can't establish the run with their 4th and 5th string running backs that they're bringing off that weren't a part of their team most of the year and weren't part of that successful run, it could be hard for them to score, especially in this kind of a weather. So under 47, under 51 in the 2 games on Sunday. best of luck with your plays. We're going to get to some of your plays in just a second. Before we do, I'm going to mention one of the sponsors of That's What G Said, Cindy Carava. Stop what you're doing right now. Head on over to cindycarava.com. She's a full-service realtor, and she can help you out in many ways if you need help with purchasing, leasing, selling. Maybe you just want to do some home improvement. If you're looking for some sort of vendors like a gardener or a landscaper or a painter, plenty that she can provide and that she has worked closely with. She can also connect you with lenders if you need some help with getting pre-approved for a home loan, covering the San Gabriel Valley, parts of North San Diego County, Del Mar, Solana Beach, Rancho Santa Fe. I've known her personally for over a decade. She is one of the most honest and genuine people you will ever meet. She will take great care of you. She has been a big supporter of That's What G Said podcast, and we're always very happy to let you know about Cindy Carava. So send her an email, cindyc.realtor@gmail.com. But if you check out the website, cindycarava.com, you can find all of the contact information there. Just a few plays in the world of horse racing this week. And they'll be at Santa Anita on Saturday, this weekend, I should say. They'll be on Santa Anita Saturday, January 11th. Get your past performances out. They are going to be 3 races in a row, actually, towards the end of the card. Let's go to race number 7, and let's go to the number 6. It's going to be 5.5 furlongs on the turf course, and we like the 6, Don't Unzip Me. This filly debuted on December the 13th up at Golden Gate and was 4th that day. She was a step slow at the start. She actually recovered really well. She was 3 deep. She was close up, 4th, and then she was 3rd at the top of the lane. She took the turn a little bit wide, and she ended up running really well in spots. She flashed some ability, a little bit flat late. I think major improvement expected here. I like the fact that she comes down, takes a shot on the grass. Don't Unzip Me. Unzip Me. Had a lot of success at Santa Anita down the hill. Don't Unzip Me. We'll make a win wager if we can get 5-1 on this one. And then let's go to race number 8, which is the stakes. It's the La Cañada. I like the 6, Horologist. I think we'll play this one at 3-1. Last out, just put a line through that race. Was wide, was in between horses, tried to take back, but was still wide and got caught in between and just never really had a shot. It was just a tough trip. And I think she wants to be more forwardly placed. She can sit a little bit. She's fresh now. She's coming off a little bit of a break with a couple months off. Let's give a look to the number 6, Horologist. And then we'll go to race number 9, and we'll go to the number 9. Via Alpina. Anything around 5-1, we'll make a win wager on this one. Throw this one into all of your exotics. She broke well in her debut. Then she was squeezed back. She was outrun early. She was making up some ground in the stretch, but she went inside and things got tight. She could have been closer, but the rival just got a little bit better of a trip when things got tight for Via Alpina down on the inside. Then in career start number 2, stretches out on the synthetic, faced open maiden special weights, was really hustled for the lead, but ended up going wide into the turn. I was really not a fan of this ride because it was wide, trying to flash speed, but it's tough when you have horses up on the inside pressing you a little bit. You want to try to get over. If you're going to gun and ask for speed, then cross over and get to the inside. There's a little bit more to her than what we've seen, and I'm going to give a look to the number 9, Via Alpina, in race number 9. So just 3 plays there at Santa Anita. Race number 7, the number 6, Don't Unzip Me. 5-1 we'll play. And race number 8, the number 6, Horologist. If we get 3-1, we'll play on this one. And then race number 9, the number 9, Via Alpina. We'll play that one at 5-1. Let's close things out with some of your tweets and your Facebook posts. Okay, ask for your best bets for the weekend. Doesn't matter what they are, any games, any sports, any races. Let's go through some of the Twitter best bets. It was Chris Sala, 11, who said Texans on the money line. Okay, go big or go home. Mark Rossini says Tennessee and the points. Packers for life says 49ers team total under 27. Matt the Hooper, Ravens to cover easily. Nick, Mr. Guru Nick, KC minus 9.5. Ryan Dickey says Ravens minus the points. Eric Rocco says nobody like my bet Ravens Titans over 47. He thinks it's going to be a shootout. Jose Acevedo says Ravens minus the 10. Steve Calfee said if Will Fuller is active over 51, Chiefs Texans. Okay, we'll go our separate ways there. And Andy Stan says two-team teaser, San Francisco 49ers and Chiefs to take it to the bank. John Baird, holy moly, says Seahawks Packers under 46.5. Yeah, I'm with you there, John. And look around. If we can get 47 in some places now. So let's go with the under there. And Mike Y says Chiefs 20-plus point win for Andy off the bye week in a revenge statement game. And then CP Starnes says Texans plus 9.5. So what I'm going to be doing, let's go over and read some of your Facebooks. We're going to do NBA Jam rules with these posts. So if you give me a winner, then that's one. If you give me a second winner next week, or on the next episode of That's What G Said podcast when we go through, that'll be two. That means you're heating up. And then if you give a third consecutive winner, that'll be on fire. And that means you will get to come on, co-host a segment with me. We'll talk about your plays. You can give out a couple other plays, and we'll talk some sports for a few minutes here on That's What G Said. Over on Facebook, we were talking to Michael Gagliano. He likes the Vikings and the points on Saturday. Stan Ware likes to play 6 or 6.5 point teasers as big bets, and then some smaller bets straight up. Best teaser for the week, 49ers down to 0.5, and the Seahawks to 10.5 plus 10.5. We'll also bet the Seahawks plus 4 versus the Packers. Good luck, Stan. He also has a play Clemson plus 5.5 versus LSU. He says the line too high for this one because LSU played the weaker of the four teams. Oklahoma in the playoff and predictably beat them by a wide margin. LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State all pretty close to the same level in his opinion, and 5.5 too much for a team that hasn't lost in 2 years. And then Mark is going to go the other way. Mark Monagura, he likes a few games this weekend, but the best bet, LSU minus 5.5 over Clemson. Their super team mystified why the spread is so low. Joe Dowell says bet the house on the Seahawks. Love them. They can play with the 49ers twice this season. They can take care of the Packers. Jeff Harold says KC will easily cover the number against the Texans, guessing somewhere around 38-17 final. Good luck, Jeff. Peter Martini has a few plays for the weekend. Titans plus 9.5 or 10, whichever you can get. Thinks the Ravens prevail, but in his opinion, this is the worst possible matchup for the Ravens. If they make it past the Titans, I think they take care of the Chiefs, Texans relatively easily. Packers minus 5 against the Seahawks. As cool as that run by Lynch was last week, Seahawks didn't look good, all that great against a completely depleted Eagles team. Rodgers has Aaron Jones this year, and I think Adams goes off completely for 150 plus on the Hawks D. And some Aqueduct plays. Early pick 4 on Saturday, race 2. 2, 3, 4, 5. Race 3, 1, 3, 6. Race 4, singling the 2. Race 5, 3, 7, 8, $18 cheap ticket, but going to play race 3, 4, heavy double, 1, 3 with the 2. Good luck, Peter. Like the little write-up there. Good information from Peter. And Carol Curick likes Clemson. And on and Saturday, and the 10th race, Gulfstream also on Saturday. Carol, good luck. But didn't leave us a who, so let us know who in that 10th race. But good luck with Clemson. Matt Zywatek, North Dakota State, man. Points in North Dakota State. Come on, okay. Justin Naranjo. Chris Dickinson going over Alex Zane Saturday at GCW. Can't Feel My Face in Osbury Park, New Jersey, and live on Fight TV. Good luck, Justin. Have fun watching on Fight TV. Some of you fans out there. Bill Bogosian, 49ers minus the 7. He said that extra week off is a big benefit. San Francisco will win that game easy, 34-13. Defense will show up. Doug Dwyer, Saturday, Aqueduct, race number 7, likes the 10. Rodney Lawson, Mavs beat the Lakers Friday night. Luka, too much for ya. We'll see if Anthony Davis is going to play in that game. Porzingis won't be playing in that game. Rob Kasperzik, 49ers moneyline, Ravens moneyline, 2-team parlay. Jeff Riggs says he kind of loves that moneyline parlay from Rob, and he likes the Texans plus 10 if you can find it, for the simple fact that everyone and their mother is on KC. Sometimes you just got to go the opposite way, right? Jeff, thanks to everyone for chiming in, and we'll keep track. Make sure to keep track. If you give out a winner this week, then make sure to come back next time. We have a post for giving us your winners, which we'll start to do this every single show now. Try to get you guys more involved, and get that interaction. That was always one big thing I loved when I was working on TVG, is the back and forth with the emails, reading the tweets, reading the Facebook posts, and all the messages. So thanks for tuning in this episode of That's What G Said. Thanks to the sponsors, SarahCandles.com, CindyCarava.com. We'll be back next week, actually heading to Dallas with Stephanie. Little Milo is going to meet Grandpa and Uncle and some of Stephanie's friends over in Dallas. So we'll be in Dallas for a week. The next couple episodes I will record from over in Dallas. We'll have Jason Beam coming on for next week. We're going to talk about the Beamy Awards, which will be next Friday night. So we'll give you all the good info for the Beamies, and we'll talk about Jason's year, and we'll have a couple other guests set up for later in the week. Joey, buddy, take it away.